Coming up on today's show, a major update pertaining to the 49ers playoff picture. Only 3 games left here in the regular season. And did you know that the 49ers can clinch a playoff spot this weekend in Week 16? We're getting into that, but I want to talk to the Niner gang here. And I'm just curious where this fan base is at. I mean, come on now. The Niners were 6-11 last year. Such a frustrating and disappointing season. But now, 10-4. If you're pumped up for some Niners playoff football, because we can smell it, we can taste it, we can sense it, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And with that, let's talk some Niners right now. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. hanging out here with you. And of course, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, as always, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. So, there have been a lot of changes to the Niners playoff picture and path over the last couple of days. And a big development here for San Francisco going into Week 16. The Niners can clinch a playoff spot without any help from any other team on Monday night against the Indianapolis Colts. You look ahead to that game, the Niners, 6-point favorites. The over-under, 46.5. And I'm so intrigued by this game because the 49ers going to be taking on Phillip Rivers, who's 44 years old. He's older than his head coach. He's older than his offensive coordinator. Prior to last week, he had not played in a game since 2020, the COVID year across the NFL. For context, that was Brandon Ayuk's rookie season. Think about how much has changed since then. He was Hall of Fame eligible, but now no longer because he played last week. And frankly, I thought he did some nice things, especially with the pre-snap and post-snap recognition. And so, Grandpa Phillip going to start against this Niners team on Monday night. It makes this riveting and must-watch television. Indy still fighting for a playoff spot in the AFC. The Colts losing last week to the Seattle Seahawks 18-16 in a game that was close, down to the wire, back and forth. Phillip Rivers actually put Indy in a position to take the lead, and they did with a Blake Groupie 60-yard field goal. Then the Seahawks, with a few seconds left, respond with a long field goal for themselves to take the lead, and then Rivers got intercepted off a deflected pass as the Colts were trying to steal that game and really keep those playoff hopes alive. In the game, Phillip Rivers, 18-27, 120 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. And I'll say this, the Colts can run it really well with an Offensive Player of the Year candidate in Jonathan Taylor. And because Phillip Rivers, who doesn't have a strong arm but never has, is so smart and is an old-school throwback quarterback with his ability to make audibles and switch things at the line of scrimmage, to recognize defensive tendencies, pre-snap, post-snap. If this Niners defense plays like they did against Tennessee, they run the risk of losing this game against a desperate Colts team. You look at where the Colts are, and this is the entirety of the AFC playoff picture right now. Who envisioned this looking like this in Week 16 at the start of the year? I foresaw some changes. I thought Denver was a playoff team. I thought the Patriots could go from worst to first in the AFC East, but the Broncos a 1 seed, the Patriots the 2 seed, the Jacksonville Jaguars the quietest 10-4 team in the NFL this year, Pittsburgh Steelers with a dominant win last night on Monday Night Football. You just knew the Tua Tagovailoa was going to suck in the cold weather. And then the 3 wildcard teams, and look at the records there. 10-4 for the Chargers. They're in the 5 spot. The Bills at 10-4. They're in the 6th spot, 1 game back of New England with 3 games left, and they just came back to beat the Patriots, down from a couple of scores. And then the team that I think might be the most dangerous in the AFC right now because their defense is lights out. D'Amico Ryans' Houston Texans at 9-5, but the Colts there at 8-6, and so their playoff hopes still alive going into this Week 16 game on Monday night. You flip the page to the NFC playoff picture. Of course, some changes here and some surprises given what happened in this conference last year. A lot of people like the Rams going into this year as Super Bowl favorites. Obviously, they are still Super Bowl favorites, and in that 1 spot at 11-3. They've clinched a playoff spot The 2-seeded Bears, they were just in that 7 spot. They'll play the Packers again, so we could see a change there after Sunday, or they play on Saturday. The Philadelphia Eagles playing the Commanders on Saturday as well. They're at 9-5, leading the NFC East. The NFC South has been crazy because the Buccaneers and the Panthers have been riding the seesaw. And then the 3 wildcard teams. This is fluid. This is up in the air. Seahawks, Niners, Packers, Detroit Lions hanging on by a thread. We'll get to them here in just a moment, which brings us to that moment that I just teased you. Did you know that on Monday night, the San Francisco 49ers have an opportunity to clinch a playoff spot? All they have to do is go on the road playing the Indianapolis Colts and Grandpa Phillip Rivers, who's 44 years old, and take down Indy. If the Niners beat the Colts, they clinch a playoff spot officially in Week 16. The Niners can also clinch a playoff spot if the Lions lose against the Pittsburgh Steelers, or if the Niners tie and the Lions tie. Rams-Seahawks has some implications involving the Niners. If they don't tie and the Niners beat Indy, the Niners can climb up from the 6th seed to the number 5 seed in the NFC. And there's still a chance that the Niners can get the number 1 seed, home field advantage, and that first round bye. They have to win out at Indy, home against Chicago and Seattle. The Seahawks have to beat the Rams on Thursday Night Football. And if the Niners beat Seattle in Week 18, they get to 5-1 in the NFC West, 13-4 overall, and they'll get that top spot. The playoff odds for the Niners here. Chance to make it into the dance, 90.1%. Shot to win the division, 18.8%. They can't have the Rams beat the Seahawks on Thursday night. But either way, Week 18 between the Niners and the Seahawks is going to be a huge game as far as a potential playoff spot or seeding inside the NFC. And if you get that 5 seed, you get to play the 4-seeded NFC South champ, meaning you have to go on the road to play the Buccaneers or the Carolina Panthers. I'd like the Niners to win that game. So chime in. Who do you want the Niners to play in the NFL playoffs? Which matchup do you favor? Let me know right now down in the comment section. More to get to here on the other side, including some mind-blowing numbers on Trent Williams. But first, today's 49ers report brought to you by Tushy. You have to check out the everyday luxury bidet, which is absolutely game-changing. And you can see it for yourself and get a great deal that we're about to tell you about at hellotushy.com/chat. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and your bottom health for life. Whether you're shopping for a bro, CEO, daddy, activist, or somebody who lights their farts on fire like producer Chip, it's the gift that refuses to pick a lane. Luxurious, practical, techie, so easy to use. 99% of people who wash with Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. Tushy Wave instantly modernizes your daily routine and bathroom with a super sleek seat, plus 2 separate front and rear nozzles for the most complete clean. It also features a soft close lid and seat that is slam-proof for a gentle, luxurious finish. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. This is daily decadence with practical benefits. Over half the people who wash with Tushy soothe their hemorrhoids, and 9 out of 10 people reduce itching and discomfort. Instead of wiping endlessly with toilet paper, Tushy pristinely removes 99% of bacteria while protecting your natural skin barrier thanks to one natural ingredient, fresh water. Installation simple, takes about 10 minutes to complete. Literally anybody can do it. So here you go. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use the code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com/chat. Use that code CHAT. You're good to go. Bottom health for life. And no, producer Chip does not light his farts on fire, as far as I know. All right, let's get to this on the back half. The ageless wonder. Even at 37 years old, 49ers left tackle Trent Williams continues to be a dominant anchor along the Niners offensive line. Trent's PFF grade on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans, a 95.6. Believe it or not, even at his age, that is the highest grade of his illustrious career. His pass blocking grade against Tennessee, 95.6, protecting the blind side of Brock Purdy. His run blocking grade, creating holes for Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson, 87.5. And all year, since a slow start to the season because he didn't do much throughout the summer, Williams has still been dominant. 6th overall Pro Football Focus grade among all offensive tackles, 15th in pass blocking, 5th in run blocking. He's played the 3rd most snaps with 958. His sacks, pressures, hits, 448. Those latter numbers, a little bit higher than what we've seen, but he's still grading out extremely well. The Niners going into this year needed Trent Williams to have a good year and stay healthy, given some of the uncertainty and the fact that their offensive line isn't in the highest tier. And Trent Williams has given them that at his age. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a Hall of Famer looks like. This is what one of the best players at his position looks like, where there is longevity and over the long haul, the greats, the one-of-ones can string together great year after great year after great year. And even at 37 years old, when all these guys are getting paid in a league where there are some fantastic offensive tackles, Trent Williams is still arguably the best, if not one of the best in the league. He's going to be in Canton. He's going to rock that gold jacket. He's going to have a Hall of Fame speech, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Niner. As for this, Steve Wilks, former Niners defensive coordinator, got fired again, this time as the Jets defensive coordinator. Let go by Kyle Shanahan after that awful loss in the 2023 Super Bowl and Super Bowl 58. He was then hired by Aaron Glenn, who took the Jets head coaching job after being the Lions defensive coordinator for a few years. And Steve Wilks never got that defense playing well. Now, New York did trade away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. So for Wilks, obviously, hard to manage a defense without 2-star players like that. But the results are the results, right? 30th in points per game allowed, 20th in yards per game, 20th in yards per play, 4th on 3rd down, so pretty good there. They got off the field, but 25th in red zone touchdown rate, the last straw for Aaron Glenn, seeing Trevor Lawrence light up the Jets with 6 touchdowns in Week 15. I'll never forget Steve Wilks' bad coaching in overtime against Kansas City. The defensive alignment, the defensive strategy, the defensive play calling, it drove Kyle Shanahan nuts. That's what led to Shanahan moving on from Wilks. He internally promoted Nick Sorensen. That was a disaster. Now he has Robert Saleh, who's been one of the best coordinators in football all of this year. But I think the Niners could have won that game in overtime if Steve Wilks just had a better grasp. Like, you can't coach scared against Kansas City and conservative against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's what the Niners did. They had Kansas City down to a 4th and 2. The Patrick Mahomes read option. Nick Bosa crashed in. Mahomes picked up the first down. And the Kansas City Chiefs won back-to-back Super Bowls, and they're 2nd over the Niners since 2019. Don't forget to give me a follow on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Chase_Senior. Just started my TikTok page. It's on fire right now, so thanks to all of the real ones for supporting me there.